Hello, welcome to today's podcast. I have a very special guest with me today. We are going to talk something musical. So, some of the podcasts that we've done on this particular journey of inspirational stories, we haven't actually touched on particular genres as such. But today, I would like to do that. And I have a very special guest to joining us today. I'm going to let him introduce himself. So, I'm going to hand you over to Coco P.
Hi everybody. Hi. It's a lovely sunny afternoon where I am here in Southampton. So I don't know where you are, but it's wonderful. And yeah, my name is MC Coco P.
Welcome, MC Coco P. Well, actually, I'm in London, so it's
Mm.
equally as sunny down here as well. I'm happy to say that, and I am not complaining, not one bit. So, welcome, Coco P, to
Thank
today's
you so much.
podcast. So, I just want to go all the way back, right? I want to know a little bit about you, how you've come to be, and the type of story of discussion that we're going to have today.
Yeah. Oh, well, taking it way back. I mean, oh gosh. Well, I've been in the UK since '93, but way back before that, I was performing in Trinidad and Tobago. That's where I'm from. Trinidad and Tobago in the West Indies or Caribbean or Caribbean.
Yes, yes. We know it well. We know it well.
But yeah, I've been performing. I didn't say that, but I was performing on stage since I've been on stage maybe since I'm 14 years old. Secondary school, storytelling, taking part in competitions in Trinidad and south part of Trinidad, winning competitions in poetry, in storytelling as well, and in drama. So
Wow. Okay. So you've kind of been entertaining people from the very beginning.
absolutely, yeah, I love it. Love to be on stage, love to have people look at me, but also it's because I love, when people smile, when people are laughing or feeling good, and it's something that I'm doing, you know, even if it's
Yes.
one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And music, especially from Trinidad, what we're going to talk about today, calypso, soca, that just brings smiles upon people wherever you are in the world. Would you agree with that?
I would absolutely agree with that 100% and anything more 110, 20, 30, 40%, taking it right up to the million% because and that's what I'm doing currently, and it's called Soca is my therapy show. So that's
Mm.
interesting, isn't it? Soca is my therapy, and I'm also a psychological therapist. But Soca is my therapy radio show. I play soca music, calypso music, chutney music. That's my current vibe every week down in Southampton.
And that kind of goes hand in hand with kind of where people might be struggling in their lives or having challenges. Sometimes, hearing a bit of music, music therapy, I know is quite big, drama therapy, all of these kind of arts stuff really can get people in a space where they're not heavily relying upon medication, for example. So looking at holistic kind of ways of moving forward and overcoming challenges. So yeah, I love that you call it that as well.
A lot of people don't like the medical model. Some people just don't, it doesn't sit well with them. And my experience with you touch on a good few things: drama therapy, art therapy, music therapy. These are bona fide therapies in their own right. Music as therapy is what I purport, because soca is my therapy. It really is my individual story, because my healing through a very difficult experience in the last few years of racism um, was, you know, I used what I actually been doing for since 99 in the UK. I've been on the calypso scene as a host MC, and then worked my way into managing soca artists, a top artist, Ola Tunji would, back in 2003, 2000, up to 2007. So for me, the journey of calypso on stage, soca, has kept me going, um, as a Trinidadian, but also as an individual because it just keeps me feeling happy. The vibes, I love it. It reminds me of home here in England. This is my home away from home, and I want to share it with other people.
Mm. You know what, Coco P, you touched on something really prolific there, that it helped you get through. I mean, you touched upon racism there. Was that racism here in the UK that you had encountered and you used your music and kind of to help you overcome certain times in your life?
The irony of lockdown is that I was seeing people psychologically, and on my break from seeing people psychologically during the lockdown, just about a year after, when we could go out, um, I was attacked by three individuals. And and the thing about that is I was playing soca music by the beach. And then, people had to go at me saying nobody wants to hear your music, which is very interesting because soca is a happy music. You just have
Mm.
to hear hot, hot, hot.
Yes,
Everybody on the planet knows
yes,
feeling hot, hot, hot. Right now we're
yes,
feeling hot in the UK.
yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah.
so that's the irony about it, and I was attacked for playing happy music. So for me, the 2 years of going to court and having all of this stress, and then I was vindicated, um, because I defended myself out, with three individuals. I went through a really tough time, um, and I came out victorious after 2 years. And the interesting thing is my community base in Southampton very supportive. The radio station said you could do what you want to do, and I said let's do some soca, and he said, oh, fantastic. Soca My Therapy was born.
Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that you had that horrific situation with those racists, and it just sounds really, really horrid. Um, but an emergence out of that was the Soca Therapy.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty amazing that you was able to turn a very negative situation, but turned it into a positive. And is that something that's kind of helped you then?
Yeah, I think for me, my journey, as a therapist, I've been doing the arts, performing since I'm 14, as I said, and it's kept me, on a even level. So I do the psychological work, and I have my outlet in performing, in hosting, in being an MC, in doing in storytelling, whether that's with children or adults, community-based people. It's kept me even. And that really shook my confidence. It shook my foundation. It meant a lot to my family, my friends, me in the community as somebody people look up to, what I was being accused of and stuff like that in my self defense. After three people tried to attack me, men, and so I went through a particular period of time there. And I found that Patrice Roberts, who's an international soca singer, her partner passed away, unfortunately. Um, and and out of that, a song came, Anxiety. You know, Soca is my therapy, and that was it. I just sort of said, you know what? Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm here with you, and I understand exactly. Death is something we can't get accustomed with. I lost my parents and been through that. Lost my two grandmothers, been through that in the Caribbean, and you know, it really is a therapy that is. You feel good, you feel happy, and when I'm in the studio, look, I just say to people, in this hour, let your stress go.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I feel the same. Like whenever I hear calypso, soca, like it doesn't matter what worries.
Yeah,
It just brings a
exactly.
smile on my face. I just want to get up. I just want
You
to
want to?
whine. I just want to
Oh my
dance.
God.
So I hear you. I so hear you. And it really is a genre of music that really
Mm,
takes you to a level of where you can just be wherever you want in your
mm,
mind. You can be in any space you want in your mind because that
yeah.
vibe just takes you on a journey of happiness.
Absolutely,
I agree.
absolutely.
I agree. And I remember anyway from obviously being going to Trinidad and also going to events where soca is played, which takes me on to
Yes.
talking to you a little bit about some of the way the transition of soca music has emerged in British culture and not hearing enough of it. Like
Not
what?
hearing enough of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. We're not hearing enough of it. And we've been profiling soca for a very long time. I mean, as I said, my journey started. I've been in the UK since 92, but 93 started my psychological work. Broke into the scene 99 in London, hosting calypso shows and then soca shows, and then managing soca artists, calypso artists, and then moving out of London into all the other Manchester, Birmingham, Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth, doing soca shows, working on the Isle of Wight. We turned the School of Rock into the School of Soca,
Yes. I
and
love it.
that was 2006.
Okay.
So we're talking, it's been going on for a while. I mean,
Yes.
Kerwin Dubois was one of the first young soca artists
Mm.
who broke out into the UK. But of course, the market in the UK and the support for singers isn't as it is in Canada or
Mm.
America outside Trinidad and Tobago, you see?
Why is that? Why don't we give that element of support the way we do with reggae artists or soul artists? So why don't we? Why
I think
what's wrong there?
the the constant problem is that the young soca artists or calypso artists or artists in general are judged by what is going on in the Caribbean. There's a constant judging of, well, you're not like Machel, you're not like Kez, you know, you're not like Black Adan, you're not like Trinidad Killer, you're not like this one. So we're not going to necessarily pay £20 to come see you. We're not going to support that market as we. So we have this culture in the UK where we buy it in, where people pay a lot of money to support international artists, which is okay, but homegrown artists are not getting that level of support, and that's the thing that's
Yeah,
keeping the
that's
market.
that's so interesting because this really reminds me of British soul music and kind of like in the 80s, sort of 80s and early 90s. And what was happening here was very similar, that the British R&B artists were not getting a look in, but the Jodeci's, yeah, all the American artists, the
Yes.
Al Kellys of that time and whoever else was around that time, SWBs, we were so watching them. And every time you turn on the radio, it would be pirate radio back in them days, for those of you that, that can remember. We never used to be on like mainstream. I think once a week on Greg Edwards. I think it was
Yeah.
on once a week or something on mainstream Radio 1 or something. But yeah, we were listening to pirate radio stations. And it would be the same thing. There was no backing
Right.
for British uh, R&B artists,
Grown.
the Omars,
Mhm,
the Don
mhm.
E's, who are absolutely like doing their thing. They're still doing their thing. Their music is completely
Yes.
timeless. They're still on the circuit, producing music, performing, and credit all to them for perseverance. And the couple of artists that did make it, so I think Omar also, he went to the US, Loose Ends, they broke out in the US,
Yes.
you know, so all these people that had to kind of flow a tree, they also went to the US. They ended up writing Butterflies, which Michael Jackson performed. So yeah, it was kind. So it kind of feels like with soca music, we're kind of like 20 years, 30 years behind. That's exactly what was happening with R&B music, British.
And again, I want to use this term irony because Notting Hill Carnival is dominated by soca music.
Right.
Yeah. Leeds Carnival, soca music.
Yes.
It powers the carnival. I mean, Notting Hill, we could talk for days. You know, bringing in over 190 million into the economy. London cannot shut it down. They try. You're talking over 2 million people in 2 days. There's nothing bigger than that in the world right now.
Mm.
So soca music is powering that, but yet the artist, you really have to push. So, for example, Olatunji Yearwood came across from Trinidad 2018. He made it into the X Factor. He is right now still profiled as the advertising face of the X Factor. If you go on YouTube,
Right.
you will see Olatunji in yellow, and he is one of the most dynamic performers
Mhm.
internationally.
Right.
Um, and the only other person who's done that is Trini Boy Juicy, aka Rodel Sozano from
Okay.
London,
Okay.
who I've worked with very personally in the early days, giving him platforms, helping him, supporting, etc., etc.
Yes.
And he went on to Voice UK and came into the semi-finals with soca
Right.
music.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
So
Okay. That's just two.
individuals
That's just
do,
two.
too. Individuals are doing it. I think Alexander the Great, I saw him on Britain's Got Talent.
Okay.
He didn't make it further, but he's a calypsonian, older calypsonian who plays the guitar and does original calypso.
Mm,
When we talk about calypso, we go back to the days of Windrush, right?
yes.
Because we're talking Lord Kitchener, Kitchener from Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
London is the place for
Mhm.
me.
Yes.
London. So we have a
Yes.
strong history of
Yes.
calypso and soca.
Yes. Yes.
And Paddington Bear, sorry, by the way, is profiling during and after the scenes. If anybody want to go on Paddington Bay and look at the movie now, you
Yes.
see Tobago Crusoe and a band singing calypso.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Might have to go back and have a review of
have a look
that.
at the end.
Oh,
At the end of it, yeah, you
yes.
see them singing calypso.
Yes. Okay.
So I think I agree with you, because I think it is that. You see the difference with what you compared with the soul music, for example, even hip hop music and rap
Mm,
and all of that now, and young people, it is that big bass. So if we had hundreds of soca artists in the UK
right.
pushing and pushing, I think we would reach to that point where actually it's going to be homegrown.
Yes.
It's going to be a force that it can be reckoned with. But I think the fact that our own people are buying into the UK and supporting the international artists more than the UK and European artists, because I
Mm,
started the first European Soca Monarch competition in 2019.
right.
If you had hundreds and hundreds of UK soca artists, we would see that change.
Yes. And how it's almost like you can't get your head around it because you'll go like Rotterdam, kind of how massive is Rotterdam, kind of like, and like you mentioned, all around the cities in the UK, and the
Yeah,
biggest of all, which is Notting Hill,
Notting Hill.
and the years of, like you're saying, trying to shut it down. It's never going to happen. It's too big. It brings in too much revenue. It's
Too
not
much money
happening.
coming in.
So yeah, interesting. But how do we grow that? How do we reach out and allow those artists to be in a space where they're going to be backed and supported in the UK?
I'm an artist, and I've worked with artists because I'm an artist, and I see their point of view. It's a struggle. And so sometimes, when I first formed, when we first the band, we formed a band called Level Crew. That's with Olatunji Yearwood, the son of Darkus Howe, one of
Yes.
Darkus's
Yeah, yeah,
son.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Amiri Howe.
Mm.
Even Amiri's brother didn't know that Amiri was in a soca band, and
Oh,
Amiri's
wow.
brother, of course, is Darkus Buse, who the ex-president of Universal Records. The connection there is quite deep. The thing is, politics within a community. I've always advocated that what we need to do is branch out into all the areas, like Southampton, into the countryside, into all the carnivals around the world, in the UK, for example, if the UK we're talking about, and start going into the grassroots. When we turned the School of Rock on the Isle of Wight into the School of Soca, it was fantastic.
Oh man, I wish I
The,
was
s-
there.
the,
I
the
can,
students
yes.
The English students were singing soca, dancing soca, making costumes, learning the music of calypso and soca. And this is what
Ah,
we have to start doing
right.
without hesitation. So whatever, if Notting Hill is the influence, they need to start influencing all the regions and saying, let's get soca music calypso music, the genres into the countryside,
Yes.
into these places. That's
Yeah.
how we're going to do it. That's one point. I've always supported young artists, and what I'm doing currently is working with soca artists and Afrobeats artists in Southampton.
Yes, I was going to get onto that because that was one of the actually, I don't know if you had it across your page and that drew me to you.
All right,
I
yes,
was,
soca Afro, yeah.
yeah, because
Mhm.
perhaps this is the direction we're going to kind of keep moving and keep evolving.
Yes. And I think so. The vision behind that is really um, is I've met a lot of Afrobeat artists locally in Southampton and around the South Coast, even in London. But there is just again there is a big drive for the big artists, the big names,
Mm,
and so you're not really hearing the Afrobeat. But we've got some really good Afrobeat artists.
yes.
And when you hear some of their journeys, some of them have worked with some of the internationally known people who've just gone off, left them alone.
Yes. Yes.
So my desire is to remind people, look, we could collaborate. There's a similarity in the genres. There is a history there because of course we know soca music is a fusion of Indian
Mm,
instruments, Indian music in Trinidad and the Caribbean, and of African heritage, calypso. So you have that fusion in the 70s that Ras Shorty I, Lord Shorty Black, Mr. Blackman made to create soca, which is unique to Trinidad.
yeah.
And then, of course, now after 50 years, it's, international, worldwide, Caribbean wide.
Yes. You know, it's I'm so pleased, right, that you're doing your thing because it
Thank
just
you.
takes more, and they are out there, everybody to just do their thing and
Yes,
keep moving, keep going. I mean, Martin J, prolific
yes.
in this area of music, keeps it alive, keeps it going, has a huge following as well. And then all of yourself out there as well. And I think this kind of the journey to just keep persevering and not give up is the direction forward. And hey, we can't, you just there is no going back, it's only going forward, right?
It's going forward,
Yeah.
absolutely. And soca has been international for years and years. People argue, is soca international? Of course, soca is international.
Absolutely. I
You
was
know,
watching something, the Japanese. Soka, like the festival in Japan is huge. Like I was looking at it and I was thinking, I'm going there. I'm so going to Japan. And people don't usually associate certain places in South Asia,
Mm,
so the
mm,
Koreans, the Japanese, as like loving soca, but you go, there's a huge following there.
yeah.
Like reggae music is huge there, dancehall is huge there.
Exactly. So soca will be big because
Yeah.
there is an element of it. I mean, right now, the fusion between soca artists, dancehall artists is massive. That fusion is massive. This is what we grew up in, and we grew up doing, and we grew up learning, and we grew up experimenting in. So I think we're catching up, and I know my encouragement would be if anybody hears this is more young people, whether you're Caribbean, whether you're English based, whether you're Indian, whoever you are, you like soca, jump on board, start singing, start producing, start learning the ropes, start getting acquainted with some of us in the industry. Do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, how do people reach you?
Well, people could reach me via the social media. I mean, I have my I have my two names, right? My name is Davis, Davis underscore Coco P, Cocop underscore Dean, Delta Echo Echo November. So, I use my parents' given name and my sobriquet, which is my stage name. They could also find me on really the interesting website euksm.com. That's Europe United Kingdom Soca Monarch.com. I'm playing anybody's song that is soca anywhere internationally, on my radio show, on my radio station, Voice FM 103.9 FM. That's not mine, but it's community based, and it's my show is on that every Tuesday 8 to 9 p.m. So any young artist, we want to give them a platform. Any artist would give them a platform.
Thank you. And just a word of advice for struggling artists here on UK soil, just hard at it, but just not able to kind of just get over that next level, what would you say to them?
I think just keep doing your thing and don't get frightened or anxious by the bright lights. You know what I mean? By the head, you see all of these things happen, all the international, everybody having their success. Don't be Keep your focus. Keep your focus on what you want to achieve, your goals of being a soca artist. The way you sing soca, that's the way you sing soca. That's what soca does. It brings you out. So that's what we want to hear. That original you,
Amazing.
having a good time, enjoying the genre and making it international. I'm happy to hear anybody and love to see it grow.
Thank you so much. I really feel that we could just talk for hours about
Well, we
this,
can.
and it can go into so many different directions. Unfortunately, the
Yeah.
podcast doesn't allow us to, but we've got an overview, and I think it's a much needed genre, and it's been something I've wanted to talk about for ages. So trying to find certain people to even reach out and talk to about it has been a challenge. So I really want to thank you for your
Yeah.
time, your energy, and of course, your enthusiasm, because that's what makes it what it is.
Oh, thank you so
Enthusiasm.
much. Yeah, I really appreciate the time here, and I hope people listening reach out to somebody they know singing soca or interested. Sometimes people might be playing steel pan or they know somebody who, yeah, I know he's singing a little calypso. Let's do this. Let's get it out there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, MC Coco P, for being a guest today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Please come back. Let's talk about what's happening on the Afrobeat scene where soca
Oh wow,
has emerged with it. Definitely interested in seeing where that goes. So, thank you so much for joining us today.
absolutely. Thank you so much, and take care, everybody, and take care of yourself. And well done for the podcast. Thanks again.